Welcome to the Clause YouTube channel.
Together, we strive for a safer, secure, and more stable world.
Hello and welcome to Strategic Frontlines, the YouTube channel of Center for Land Warfare Studies. Today we are going to discuss a very, very current issue, which is on the geopolitical scenario. Trump has just left the United States of America and probably he'll be going to Russia, as he said. I'm not saying so. He said, I'm going to Russia and meet Putin. But actually, he's going to Alaska and least realizing that Alaska was sold to Russia, to US by Russia way back 200 years back. So, okay, that we will discuss separately. But more importantly, before we get into the discussion of Russia US summit, which is taking place in Alaska, the Prime Minister gave a Independence Day speech, which was in some form very unique from the past speeches. To discuss first this issue and the Russia US summit on Ukraine war, we have with us today two distinguished guests, Major General Deepak Mehra, retired. He was the former DA to Russia, so he has the eye on that particular area. Then we have Sudhakar, who is Major General Sudhakar, who has an eye on almost everything geopolitical, and you must have heard him in TV on various debates, etc. So today he'll be also throwing some light on the Russia-Ukraine summit, of which he has been not speaking that much. He's been speaking more on the closer to home India impact. So we will try to draw on his experiences of India's impact on India of these two major developments. So welcome to both of you, Jan Dakar and Jan Mehra.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good evening, sir. Thank you for getting me to the show after a gap of a couple of months, maybe.
So we are.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So actually, you both have some important commitments. So we will be going straight into the debate. Prime Minister Modi gave his speech today, which was the longest. First of all, it had number of initiatives which were announced, and most of these initiatives are very, very current, relevant, and futuristic, because in the end he mentioned that whatever he's laying down today is focused at the vision of 2047. So this was the broad theme in this. Possibly I'll just run over the points one by one. I won't dilate on them. He spoke about the Operation Sindoor. Enough has been spoken about it. He spoke about Mission Sudarshan Chakra. Then he spoke about IWT. He spoke about GST reforms. He spoke about youth employment. He spoke about semiconductor. He spoke about national security doctrine, the India stance. He spoke about demographic mission. This is very interesting. Then he spoke about clear energy milestone that we achieved it 2 years before the targeted date of 2030. Then he spoke about women empowerment. Then he spoke about farmers being encouraged to go in for more and more scientific methods to increase their yield. And then he spoke about global diplomacy, space technology, cultural ties, and essentially giving his homage to various freedom fighters who laid down their entire life and entire career or entire effort for the obtaining freedom from the British. And finally, we achieved the freedom in 1947. So first, I will ask one by one. I'll first open the house to Sudhakar. Sudhakar, in your view, comparing from the past speeches which Prime Minister Modi has made, what are the key differences? You don't have to go over everything. What is so singularly different from the earlier one? So first, a quick comment from you, and then we'll take the comment from Jal Mehra. Over to you.
Good evening once again, sir. Thank you for getting me to the show. Quick points. I personally feel that this is one of the very unique kind of a speech which has got something to do with the local level, because the geopolitical churn is enormous, something to do with the regional level, and something to do with the national level. So when you talk about the global level, sir, he has actually, it is a visionary kind of a speech. Long-term perspective. He's shaping the environment for economic power or global power of India to be of India by 2047 or earlier than that. In giving out that kind of a outline or roadmap, he has covered all the attributes, be it the military, be it the economy, be it the diplomacy, be it your education, be it the youth. So the highlight, as far as I'm concerned, this is a great departure from the previous speeches. He has actually linked his speech with everything happening in the world, but he's not called names. He's not taken the names. He has given a response as a solution provider to all the teething problems in the world, how India is going to circumvent or navigate the path or the journey and reach the target of being a global power by 2047 or earlier than that. In doing so, he has, in my opinion, there are many issues which he has covered. One of the visionary statement is the youth bulge. This youth bulge of India, which has got 65% or more of youth between 15 and 65 years of age. This is likely to disappear by the year 2053. So we have just about 35 odd years to take advantage of. He has actually laid a roadmap how best actually to harness the potential of the youth for the first time. It has not happened before. Second thing that comes to my mind is about a global issue that he's spoken of. Global issue, he's not talked about the tariff, but he's talked about the time has come for Atmanirbharta. He said that we need to apply ourselves. We have to make everything within the country and must take advantage of the consumer base. He has not talked about the consumer base, mind you, sir. And also he has indirectly conveyed that India, as on today, he's got maximum number of consumers who have got the capability to spend more than $12 a day. This is, I'm not saying, this is the UN headquarters, the relevant directorate is giving out. And this figure is going to overtake China by the year 2035. He has spoken about the architecture of security of the nation. By 2035, he's speaking about something which no nation has ever planned. It is not Iron Dome, or it is not those kind of silly weapon systems. It is a very proactive mechanism to detect. He's basically outlining, without speaking so much, about find, fix, track, uh, target, engage, and assess. These 6 steps he has actually stipulated in a very, very subtle manner. He's also given out the fact that the industrialization will pick up only when the central point of industrialization has to gravitate towards technology. In the technology, he's spoken about the semiconductor, he's spoken about the space, the future conflict, if at all it takes place, it is not going to be a ground offensive or ground attack or a sea type kind of attack. It is going to be controlled and regulated and going to be orchestrated by the space power. So likewise, he's given out many important things which are long term
Okay,
and which are
okay.
yeah.
Okay, I think I get your sense what you're trying to say. I'll give the chance now to Jal Mehra. Mehra, you highlight, what has already been covered, that's okay. But in your view, what is different from the past? Typically different from the past. Over to you.
So I think every time you hear Honorable Prime Minister, you come out motivated. And it was no different this time, but the aspect of motivation was much stronger in this longest ever speech which he gave. Apart from what General Sudhakar mentioned in the thing, one aspect which you briefly mentioned was about the Sudarshan Chakra. That is a new comprehensive missile defense system, which is integrating surveillance, cyber protection, which the India is likely to develop. This new missile defense initiative, I think, it is going to be a game changer in the region as we go forward. Apart from that, sir, this government right from the day one has been very focused on the self-reliance, on Atmanirbharta. And I always say that no country can fight the wars on borrowed weapons. The focus has been there. Results are for all of us to see, but it's just we have scratched the surface. There's a lot of ground to cover, and that is where he mentioned in in some detail about the semiconductor chips on which, and then the magnets through the special materials or those special minerals which we get. He mentioned all those aspects. Also, he mentioned about the energy. The 85% of our energy needs we are getting from outside. So in energy sector, we are going to achieve 50% of clean energy target by 2025. That is within this year. And the aim was 2030. That is much ahead of schedule. He spoke about that.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
Samudra Manthan, deep water gas and petroleum exploration he spoke about. So there are so many other aspects. I think we'll let it rest
I,
here.
I I get the sense what both of you are trying to say, but I would like to highlight for our audience only one thing. This was first time that he kind of, now look at it in a very very focused manner. He laid out the national security strategy of India. If you just focus on this, I think everything has revolved around the national security strategy. If you pick up these threads and put them into a document, the India's national security strategy has been just laid out today to the nation, which has been missing since 1947. That's one point. The second thing, he has devoted the maximum time on national military security. He said सुरक्षा नहीं होगी तो हम कुछ भी नहीं कर सकते. I think so much of a focus on military security, the defense security, was never, ever detailed by any prime minister. We used to only find 2, 3 minutes of a talk on that. This time round, the talk has focused almost, let me tell you, one third of his talk was on national military security, directly or indirectly. Okay, so I think with these three comments, we have wrapped up the Prime Minister's speech. Now, this has also an impact on the next big issue which we are going to discuss today, because I find in the chat a lot of people want to discuss the Russia-Ukraine summit and what is going to come out of that. So, what I will do is, see, I'll start with a very interesting question so that people get a little more excited and interested in this particular debate. You see, a few days back, I think 2 days back, Trump made a statement saying, "I'm going to Russia and I'm going to meet Putin. I don't like to meet him, etc., etc." And he said that, and also he said that I do not hope much to be achieved. And today he says there'll be grave consequences for Russia if it does not play up. So, what do you make of this? Being a Russia watcher and being in Russia for 3 years, General Mehra, uh, was it a guffaw or was it a snafu that he by mistake mentioned Alaska as Russia, or it was deliberate? So, quick comment by you, and then I think General Sudhakar also has a lot to say on this. Over to you, General Mehra.
Uh, Thank you, sir. So I think, as we all know, Alaska was once a part of Russia by great and Sir Bering was the one who found Alaska, and that's why the Bering Strait between Russia and Alaska
The
is named
boundary.
after. It's just at the closest, it's just 3 miles apart. So
Absolutely.
this ice box, as they used to call it in those days, was
Hmm.
sort of bought by was other Russians. Alexander the
Offered
Great
it. Yeah,
offered
they offered.
and cajoled Americans to buy it from Russians because they did not want the UK, which was controlling Canada at that time. Canada did not exist at that time. They did not want the arch rivals UK to take over. As far as Putin, as far as Mr. Trump saying going to Russia for the talks and all, possibly what you say, guffaw or a slip of tongue or whatever, or possibly wanting to say that going to the Russian president for the talks. So it can be anything. But yes, one part is
Yeah, but
very
he
clear.
but he repeated it 3, 4 times, not one.
But Alaska has
On and on.
Alaska has a significance. See, Alaska is firstly ICC has already issued. It's my own personal opinion. ICC has issued warrants against couple of world leaders, and Putin is one of them. Uh, Alaska presently is not on the real mainland; it's on the limb. and where the meeting is taking place, it's in the joint base, right? And the choice of Alaska as a summit, we knew, sort of also underlines distancing, US distancing from Europe and Ukraine and getting them onto a third territory. And coming on to the Elmendorf Richardson and base in the largest city of Alaska, that is Anchorage, he's not getting him into any civil area or anything, getting him into a joint base. So it has a sort of that significance to it, as I can make out of it. And rest, I think we can leave it
Discussing.
at that.
We'll have more questions, more relevant questions. Okay, so he has given some logic as to why Alaska was selected as a venue for the meeting, and also probably it was a slip of tongue or snafu or whichever way you want to call it. Jan Sudhakar, if you want to further add to the comments of Jan Mehra and also your views on these two aspects, as why the Alaska was selected as a venue, and also don't you think, I'll add a question here, don't you think Russia suddenly is very big? You see, it has boundary with Asia, it has boundary with Europe, and it has boundary with America. Look at the expanse of Russia. We are underplaying the Russian influence somehow because of its economy taking a beating, because of the breaking down of the USSR. But the influence of Russia is huge. Quick comment on these two, three aspects, and then we'll go in for the other issue. Over to
Yes,
you,
yes.
Doctor.
Thank you. It's a very I would say important and relevant question in today's context, and it will continue to remain relevant because my take on the whole issue is I've done enough of research on this Russo-Ukraine war. Uh, Donald Trump was a businessman in his first tenure, but the absence of politics for 4 years has actually made him a better politician or brought him closer to the paradigm of politics. He knows, he understands what politics is. A mix of businessmen and politics has actually put him in a high platform with high end objective. He knows he's not a bekuf. He knows what he's doing. So there are many issues, sir, which you have raised, but one of the issues is, was it a faux pas when you made remarks that he's going to Russia? Not once, twice, thrice, I think 4 times, if I remember correctly. No. As for me, I have been watching the details also. He knows that this conflict cannot be brought to an abrupt end. Ceasefire is not a very easy milestone to be achieved. He knows the stakes are very, very high. My take on the whole issue is that well begun, half done. The envoy of US, Mr. Steve Witkoff, he
Bitcoin.
has paid 5 visits to Russia, and he has had a meeting with not only Putin, many important relevant officials, all the 5 times. But whenever the press or the media got after him, once he said he lost the notes. Second time he said it is none of your business. Third time he just waffled around. He did not divulge anything as to what had been discussed. It's a very important development, I would say. And now, suddenly, a plan has been made to go to Alaska. Alaska, incidentally, it was sold by the Russian Tsar Alexander II in 1876. It earlier belonged to, it was the property of USSR at that point in time. It was sold to USA under an agreement in 1876. So, what is the high point? Alaska today, USA does not have, it is not a signatory to ICC. International Criminal Court of Justice, or whatever you call it, sir. Therefore, even if the warrant has been initiated or signed or issued, USA is not entitled or not a legitimate or not authorized to arrest. That is one of the safest place and the best place to actually meet. Meeting is very important. Why is meeting important? What does America want? Does America want an abrupt end to the conflict? Even if it desires, because it is his campaigning commitment to the people or the constituency of USA, and he said within 24 hours he will bring an end And in past 6 months, he has learned that it's a very, very complex issue. The biggest complexity has come to light by going back in time, where back in April 2022, when there was an agreement almost on the verge of being signed between Russia and Ukraine. This meeting was taking place in Turkey, Istanbul, if I remember correctly. And however, the Prime Minister of UK came rushing. He said, "No, no, 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 no. The conflict will go on. Don't sign it." Had they signed the agreement at that point in time, perhaps less for Crimea, all the 20% of the land which is in occupation of Russia today would have actually been in as a property or as the sovereign integrity or the territorial integrity of Ukraine would have been maintained. But that did not happen. It actually went other way around. Now 20% of land is in possession or occupation of Russia. So the question that comes is Ukraine prepared to part with this 20% of land? Crimea is over and above 20%. This is one issue. Second, by and by,
Gen Sudhakar, we'll discuss this. No, we'll discuss this. This is a separate second question. So
okay.
Otherwise, you're preempting that question of mine.
Okay,
so
fine.
let's
Comment comment on the size of
yeah. So I wanted the comments on the specific
Yeah.
issues which I mentioned. Yeah.
Third point you mentioned about size of Russia, 11 time zones, right? From when you fly from Petersburg to Sakhalin Island or to Vladivostok, it is almost
from
9 to 10 hours of flight over one country. And
So
when you
from five time zones to 11 time
11
zones.
time.
Okay.
And if we say ki today Russia is coveting more territory despite having 1/6 of the world's landmass, I think it is very, very wrong at times when many of the people say it's coveting more. No, no, no. Its security aspects are very distinct. It is the NATO expansion, the bloc which should not have, it has no place after the Warsaw Pact was dissolved, still continues to expand, still continues to get into the erstwhile Russian space. It is that purpose. And also, when you look at the geography,
Go
when you
ahead.
look at geography, from the great Hungarian plains right up to Vladivostok, Russia does not have even a single obstacle in between. So, right from Napoleon to Hitler to second time he comes, and they just walk in through the thing till the time the depth and the long lines and the severe weather climatic conditions stop them. So that is what Russia is today afraid of. And as NATO expands, it is not the just territory expanding. It is NATO missiles come to the Russia's border today with all the three Scandinavian countries in NATO. The missiles are just about 150 kilometers away from the second largest city, hosting 9% of the Russia's population, that is St. Petersburg of Russia.
Yeah.
How will you feel in the today's nuclear-powered world? And these missiles, although the NATO claims these missiles are very defensive missiles, but with a little tweaking of these missile batteries, they can be easily turned into a offensive missiles. So it is
Okay, so yeah, absolutely. So what I want to tell the visitors or our audience is that look, it's not a very, very simple situation. The boundaries, the geography are there, and they influence these kind of outcomes and in various summits that take place. It is Putin who has the upper hand in this particular summit, and the two factors which I mentioned was about the location of Alaska and the geography of Russia. You know, where is Vladivostok? That's a boundary with China.
Japan, China, yeah, North Korea.
China, Japan. Look at the kind of expanse which Putin is controlling. Can America boast of such a control? And there has been an old theory which Gen Sudhakar must have read it in the College of Defense Management, that who controls the heartland, he controls the world. Mackinder's theory. So there are so many theoretical concepts which are now working. I think this is going to be an ideal case study in the future for people of security studies, etc. Coming down to the question which now Jan Sudhakar started preempting me. Now he has all the chance to elaborate upon it. Is that the summit is going to take place? What is the situation as a run up to the summit where you find Russia, America, Ukraine, and the EU taking positions which will either help the summit to come to some kind of a fruition, or it is a non-starter right from the beginning. So now you can cover all those issues which you wanted to cover. Over to you, Sudhakar.
Right, sir.
And comment, because you have to also go back some
Yeah,
commitments here.
yes, I'll keep it short, sir. Firstly, stakeholders have been more than adequately covered by the DG, sir. And so each of the stakeholders, they have their own perspective. What is it that America is wanting? America is wanting, its primary aim of USA is to isolate China. It is there in National Security Strategy document. It was there earlier. Since 2015, they have been regularly bringing it out. But they are not stating as such. When you relate it to the tariff, then it becomes a very incongruent kind of a statement. But the hidden agenda is that China needs to be isolated. Second, they want Russia to be taken away or prevented from going into a deep embrace with China. How is it going to happen? It is going to happen by what Donald Trump, a businessman and politician, thinks it to be the best thing to do. Third thing, yeah, whatever Russia, these 5 meetings of the special envoy who went to Russia, Steve Witkoff.
Witkoff,
Now,
Steve.
what is it that he has come back with? Nobody knows. But my guess, I'm only joining the dots, he's come back with only one thing, that Putin will agree to the whole process and come to a ceasefire only if Luhansk, then you have Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, and Kyiv. If the eastern bridge is secured, this 20% land he is not prepared to give. He's also added one more thing, that wherever the troops are presently in Donetsk, Luhansk के बाद Donetsk आता है, Donetsk पहले आता है. Ahead of that, the city complex, which the general Deepak would be aware of. I have not gone on ground. I have studied only on Google Map. I am given to understand that it is strategically located. It's like a communication center. It has connectivity to far off places like Sumy and other Kharkiv and other places. So Russia's aim is to capture this particular land, which is about 1,000 plus square kilometers ahead of wherever they are in Donetsk province or the region. Is it going to be accepted by Zelensky? Zelensky's status. Now let's understand. This is one part. Second part is Ukraine has to remain neutral. That aspect of becoming a NATO member is out of question. And third and most important thing is that the defense forces size has to come down drastically. These are the important aspects. But is it going to be agreed to? Even if Zelensky agrees, you see, the Ukraine is a democratic country. It has got a parliamentary presidency. Parliamentary presidency, the legislature has to approve. The status of Zelensky today is a illegal president of Ukraine. Even if he signs, even if he accepts, the legislature or the people of Ukraine will not be prepared to compromise the territorial integrity and the sovereignty of the nation. That is the biggest question. Now the moot question is coming time and again. People are asking, why did Putin attack on 24th February 2022? Does the world know? Why did he attack? People may not be knowing that there was an extensive cleansing of Russian-speaking population taking place to the Donbass region or to the eastern portion of Ukraine. So that is as far as this part is concerned. Last but not the least, time is very short, is that, so how much is Trump expecting? Trump is actually expecting nothing. He is a man on the race against time. Anything and everything is going to do him good. But as long as the principal aim, as far as my study goes, is that stabilization of relationship between these two countries, that is America and Russia. The underlying aim is America doesn't want to expand, let the world expand and drift away beyond bipolar world. China wants to be a bipolar, a pole in the bipole. Russia wants a multipolar world, and India has rushed there. India, it is directly or indirectly going to impact our tariff if the agreement goes ahead. well and good, it will be in our favor. Even if it doesn't go ahead, there is a silver lining at the end of the tunnel. That silver lining is Trump, sooner or later, within a week's time, is definitely going to visit Moscow. He will have a detailed dialogue with Putin on matters how to reach a kind of a ceasefire. So, what is beyond that? Beyond that is this territory which is in the occupation of Russia. It is going to be given to the business enterprise of America for the rare earth element, for mining, and for different kinds of industrial activities in the entire eastern corridor. If it is accepted by Putin as also by Zelensky. That's also. Thank you. Back to you, sir.
Good. So you are trying to say that the chances are a first very remote, likelihood of a direct summit in Moscow between Putin and the American president, and also the fact that it's very difficult for Ukraine to agree to the conditions of Putin, and Putin, there are some red lines which he's not going to accept, especially those related to the security issues, NATO expansion, etc., etc. So now on the same issue, I would like Jan Mehra to throw some light and see crystal gaze. Are we likely to get some solution? If not, then what is going to be the likely outcome? Will it be a temporary truce to placate POTUS, and then he claims that okay, I have at least got some amount of purchase out of this particular summit? Over to you.
Thank you, sir. So, when you actually, before you get into this particular aspect, let's look at the two personalities. Putin has been in control of Russia for the last 25 years. He has dealt with 5 US presidents. He has met them 48 times. This is going to be his 49th meeting with the US president. And as far as Trump knows, I think General has already told what his background is and how he comes into this game. Putin's a couple of issues are very clear. Some red lines are there. That firstly, the territory that he has got, the rest of the Zaporozhye and all is already with him. Donetsk and Luhansk is already with him almost completely. Donetsk, major parts, some major cities like Kramatorsk and Slovyansk are still in with the Ukraine. He wants Ukraine to withdraw from there and entire Donetsk to be with him, because it is a place, this Donetsk area, which is still not occupied by Russia, which leads into major cities inside Ukraine, as Sudhakar sir brought up. Another aspect is what he wants.
I'll just interject here only for this particular issue. That then, do you think that Kherson, this particular Kremisor swap is might satisfy Putin?
Yeah. Kherson, no way. So Kherson and Zaporozhye is its lifeline to Crimea. And Crimea has its lifeline to Black Sea and on to the Great Oceans, for which is essential for any big power to today stay. So I don't think whatever he occupies, 18-20%, he's likely to unhold. So if you recall, Trump initially said there may be likely a swap of territories, swap of areas, but subsequently he said, no, I am going to be as a listening post there. And there only he mentioned that if there is a little bit success in this first meeting, there will be a quick second meeting in which I might call, or Europeans and Ukrainians would be involved in that. Where it would be, how it would be, when it would be, I think it is best left unsaid at this point in time.
So he's already announced his layback position for this summit.
And Wednesday he said there are almost 25% chances that this summit will not succeed. And then he said Russia is going to have a very, very bad consequences of that, to which Putin replied, see, mind you, sir, Russia is a very, very country which has seen almost 26 million dead in Second World War, 13 million dead during the Napoleon's foray in 1812. It knows what is war. It knows what sacrifice is. If you think by giving threats it can sustain or you can get your work done, no way. But despite that, Putin was very balanced in his reply when he alluded to the fact that Americans are working very hard to get peace on this front. So and I'm also equally hopeful. So, despite all these things, he mentioned these aspects to it. Other aspect which Russia would want is that Europe stop arming Ukraine, uh, freedom of rights of freedom be given to the Russian population. A lot of prosecution was taking place in 2021, 22 before Russia went in. Another aspect I missed out is eradication of Nazism, Banderas. So when it was Second World War, this Mr. Banderas was the one which supported the Nazis and Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists, that is OUN. It was accused of having participated in Holocaust alongside Nazi Germany. Do you know it? Almost a Ukrainian insurgent army was created under the Banderas, and almost 1 lakh Poles were killed in northwest Ukraine between 1943, 44. And today, the date of birth of Banderas is celebrated across Ukraine, and entire West, US is accepting it. So this is one thing which Putin is very deadly against. And when we were there, this was one point with every meeting, with everything he was, and especially between 15 to 18, when I was there, Prime Minister Netanyahu made number of visits to Russia, and they celebrated, I think, the silver jubilee of or was it golden jubilee of establishment of the relations, and these aspects was brought up time and again there. So these are some of the issues which Russia is going to put in. Now, as far as Ukraine is concerned, there's no way it is going to lose its sovereignty. It is no way it's going to accept when it is not sitting on the high table. So that is a problem. As far as Europe is concerned, right through the conflict, Europe has been supplying them arms, supplying them with the trainers, supplying them with the. I read an article a couple of days back. There was a news actually from friends from there. In a commando raid by Russian special forces, they captured some of the Western
Yeah.
leaders or Western
Trainers,
instructors,
trainers,
and
trainers.
brought them back to
Yeah.
Ukraine, Russia, and now possibly the fifth visit of Vitkov. This was also discussed of giving them honorable discharge from there. So, as far as Europe is concerned, it is really feeling left out. And if you recall, yesterday, the Prime Minister of England had called in Zelensky, was in 10 Downing Street, and they were having a cup of tea on this particular aspect. Again, issuing a statement that entire Europe and England are standing shoulder to shoulder with the Ukraine. Now, one thing I just want to end up by saying,
Mhm.
what will happen if this is the stand of President Putin, this is the stand of Zelensky and Europe, what will happen? I think Trump already knows what is going to be there. There is one silver streak which has come in. If you recall yesterday, the aspect of nuclear treaty has been brought in into the thing. I think
Yes.
both of them, when they come out of the meeting, they have to have some sort of a face saving, which at these levels is a very, very
Important
important.
thing.
So possibly, to my mind, that could be a thing which could become as a as a face saver for both of them. Okay, fine, we have not been able to achieve something here, but at least this part we have achieved, and the balance part we will discuss in the next conference. So that is also there. And when you analyze his Putin's previous conferences or 48 conferences, or his previous post FIFA, when he had a meeting with Trump in Helsinki, so the how they both deal with the things is totally different. So Putin is very serious, well prepared, and who comes, whereas Trump comes with sort of off the cuff remarks also, which takes his own side also at times by surprise. So
Shooting from the hip.
his main aspect is, if you recall his book, which was released in 1988, The Art of Deal Making. So he comes as a
Yes.
deal maker, takes the things as they come, right? And he personally feels that personal relation can at times swing the things the way he wants. So let's see. It's going to be a very, very interesting meeting, and we wait abatedly for that.
I think we've had a excellent discussion today. It is indeed, and I myself learned a lot from John Mehra and Jan Sudhakar. So what I gather, I mean, I'll just sum it up, is that the outcome is likely to be not there what initially they have set out to do. Probably there'll be some kind of a layback, either agree to meet second time, or something on the restructuring of the nuclear arrangement within Europe. So the Europeans are also Europeans are also happy about it. They also get some kind of attraction. The Ukrainians may get some hope that yes, there is still some time. But here I would like to just tell the audience that Ukraine has done a spoiler today. It has attacked the oil facilities of Russia. Now, if you do such things, last time also it did the same thing. They attacked the strategic assets of the Russians. The Russians are not going to take it lying down. You see, the Russians are a bigger power. For them, it's going to be a big issue when they go into the meet. And Putin might be more furious than what you saw a few days back on the TV when he was answering to various questions of the delegates which were there. So therefore, chances of an outcome, and rightly all of you have said, is not going to be major. Probably some kind of an arrangement to meet once again. That could be one issue, and the second would be some statements either on nuclear or on tariffs or on oil. That not applying secondary sanctions for people who are buying oil. Should you promise something, some kind of a temporary halt in the operations of Ukraine? So these are the few odd possibilities which might take place. My last question before we take on the audience question is to all of you, and that is quick comment, is what is going to be India's option? Should there be nothing coming out of it, or if there is some partial kind of a outcome which comes out, which is going to put some thaw into the situation between Russia and Ukraine on the war itself? Remember, Prime Minister of India has spoken to Putin and Zelensky both, and he's reiterated India's position that we always believe in peace and it's not an era of war. So with this, first, since Jan Mehra spoke just now, quick comment by Sudhakar and then by Mehra, and then we go for the question. Over to you, Sudhakar.
Sir, our NSA, Mr. Doval is already there, and we have clearly indicated to Putin directly that India is not going to come under pressure of tariff imposed by America. We'll continue to buy oil. Plus, also at the same time, we have gone in for signing some strategic agreement, industrial cooperation agreement on aluminium, fertilizer, railway, mining technology in these couple of last 3 to 4 days time. And also, we have gone in for enhancing our bilateral military cooperation. There are many issues which have been. So, coming straight to the subject per se, in my opinion, this ceasefire, which everyone is looking at, or Donald Trump and Putin are aiming at, is not going to come so easily. It is going to take time. But first and foremost step is that some stabilization of the relationship between USA and Russia should be a good start point out of this meeting. Number one. Number two, India is going to benefit tremendously. Even if that happens, there is a huge potential of some kind of a review of the penalty tariff which has been imposed on India. Third, India will continue to import oil without any second thought. Also, will continue to import other things and do normal business with Russia. Last but not the least, India is not going to react to the tariffs being imposed by USA because it is very important for India to become a global power by 2047 or earlier than that, to maintain working relationship with all the accomplished global powers and the emerging global powers. That's all.
Okay, so Jal Mehra, quick comment,
Quick,
and then we
yeah.
will take on the question.
So, actually, two aspects. So one is Trump has made no bones about it that the additional tariffs on India are not only because India not pulling the Trump's line or the US line of sort of not accepting that Trump was instrumental in getting the ceasefire. He makes the point that India is being punished to get Russia on the negotiating table, and it has come up in number of writings also by the other experts also. Now, where does that leave India? India is no more a pushover country with the type of, yes, no doubt, the tariffs and the aspects of additional tariffs will hit our economy hard. There is no doubt. But as a big country, and today, what are the four poles in the world today? If you really look at it, US, Russia, China, and the fourth one, if you really count, is India. And India is not going to be cowed down, as Gen Sudhakar said, with such threats. Sort of a wake-up call for us for the Atmanirbhar and work towards that particular aspect. So that is as far as India is concerned. No doubt we want a peace between them so that our economy does not get hurt. That besides. One more aspect I just wanted to bring out was what is going to be the outcome of these two conferences also depends on the type of people who are accompanying the presidents. If you look at the Russian president, apart from the normal defense minister and evergreen uh, foreign minister, it is taking a very strong financial ministers with him. So the two ministers I just have the name. One is the finance minister and Anton Siluanov, and also apart from Ushakov, it is going. The person who's accompanying the thing is Anton Siluanov and Dmitry. Kirill Dmitry, the senior negotiator and head of Russia's sovereign wealth fund. So what does this also point towards? Is Putin going to give some or dangle some financial incentives for siding with Moscow over Ukraine or something? So let's see how it comes out.
Okay, so Sudhakar has some comment to make on an issue. Yeah, over to you, Sudhakar.
So, quick point. I thought since it's a very important platform and the subject is very, very rife and relevant, something has come on my mobile. The first activity between Donald Trump and Putin is going to be an one-on-one meeting, sir. First schedule of the itinerary. In that one-on-one meeting, so far they had decided to have an interpreter who is capable of only one interpreter, capable of translating English to Russian and Russian to English. But the input which has come is that Putin knows 17 languages, which General Deepak will bear me out. I didn't know. He knows 17 languages and he is very, very eloquent in English also. So the interpreter has been done away with. Now the meeting is going to be only one to one, and nobody would come to know baat kya ho raha hai, sir. Back to you.
Sir, I have heard him
Okay.
speaking in three languages: German, Russian, and English. when we saw him or attended some.
17 languages
Okay,
is a
okay.
big number.
Yeah, okay. I think Narasimha Rao was one of the other champions of knowing about 16 or 17 languages. So we also have in India such luminaries who have been experts and in different kind of languages. So what is the thing which comes out of this? Maybe they do not want things to leak out, which may be discussed totally off cameras. There'll be no cameras, possibly. There'll be no mobiles unless somebody. And at that level, I don't think they're going to play any kind of, what Asim Munir did it in Trumpland, where he gave a speech but told nobody to get the mobiles. But as you know, public has a way to get mobiles and the way to get their information and intelligence. But this one seems to be that possibly before they go in for the major meeting, they would have agreed to what would be the line finally and take that line during the meeting and come out of it. Maybe there is some scope of some layback. That's what I've been saying. Some scope of a layback coming out of this particular meeting. And Putin also may be realizing that Putin is also under a lot of pressure. Remember, he has been fighting this war for 4 years, almost. This is the fourth year running, and it's a lot of stress and strain on the industry, on the people, on the safety, security. So many other issues are there. The nation has to pay a lot of price. So with that is a good thing. In my view, it's a good thing that a meeting taking place sans everybody, just one on one, no translator, no nothing. It will be a good aspect. So I end here this debate by saying that don't expect too much from this meeting. India will have to continue to fight its own battle for a few more months till Trump realizes that to deal with China, there is no other way but to. I mean, they can't deal with China with Pakistan. Yeah. Out of, I mean, hello, Trump should be given some advice to know what Pakistan is capable of doing. They are capable of doing a WPC on them, so they can do it again. So let's. I mean, I'm sure, and I believe Trump is facing a lot of headwinds where internally even the Republicans are opposing this posing up to Pakistan, so which is something, to my mind, ultimately the overall geopolitics of the globe is going to come back to its normal. This is a turbulent period of the second personality of Trump, the trader, has currently been taken over. I mean, he has taken over the other personality of politician, as Sudhakar was trying to say that he learned his politics. I think he continues to be a trader till now. Let us see how he deals with it in the future. Now we'll
Just,
take some
just one
questions.
thing, sir. I got an
Yeah.
image here with me. Uh, in Alaska, there are a number of lots of protests which are taking place anti-Russia and anti-Putin. And as Lavrov has and the ambassador of Russia to Washington has landed in the Alaska, you know what Lavrov was wearing? He was wearing a T-shirt of USSR.
Yeah.
So just the image that has come.
So,
So it is conveying a lot of
so
meaning. So already the games are on,
yeah.
sir.
Yeah, so probably, to my mind, when Trump mentioned that he's going to Russia, is he going to give back Alaska to, Alaska to Russia, being a nice box, and say,
In
okay, yaar, band
in
karo isko, stop this ceasefire. Yeah,
in
it's
fact,
a
in
it's a
fact,
wild thought,
apart
but
from, apart from giving an offer to Greenland to buy it off in the Arctic zone, Trump had also given an offer to. There were reports.
some talks about it.
Some talks about it that some islands in the Arctic zone want to buy from Russia. So there
Yeah.
is lots of things going on.
Yeah, there are possibilities. These are things which we can't say. Only time will say. But to our listeners, you've seen the kind of angles which have come out of this particular thing. Listen to some podcasts where the Russian experts are saying there is no way of land swap. Land swap is out of question as far as the Russia-Ukraine geography is concerned. Let's move forward. The first question I have is it's a very interesting question. In fact, Akash says, while considering this matter of true winners globally and in the aftermath of Sindhu, I'm constrained to state that Bharat is the true winner in the present. Your views. What we will do is we will give one to one and then go to the next one. So this question goes to Sudhakar. Yeah, Sudhakar.
Yes, I agree with you 100%.
So, Jal Mehra, you want to add anything to it or just we move forward?
I am not very sure if you call it a true winner. To my mind, personally, sir, rather than just trashing what it's my personal view, trashing what Trump said at that particular point, and then yes, the peace was brought in by the mutual aspects of the DGMO's call to each other that started the peace process. But knowing Trump, what he is and what nuisance he can be to our economy, he could have dealt it maybe a little differently when we look back. But yes, we are true winners as far as we are concerned. Let's see how it goes
So,
forward.
so this question goes to Jal Mehra. I'm eagerly awaiting the second round between US and Russia. In Russia, cause Trump has been foolish enough to accept first round in Alaska. US views.
I think Sudhakar has already answered that the next round is going to be in Moscow, and
Hmm.
Trump has already accepted that the first is just a list. He's going as a listening person, or it's going to be a listening post, and very soon there is going to be a second round of discussions with maybe a wider audience of Europeans and
And
Ukrainians.
the Ukrainians also.
So,
Yeah.
quick reflection, sir. Quick reflection on this question. There is an old saying that tactics without strategy is like noise before the defeat. Although
Okay.
people say that Donald Trump is known for not having any strategy, grand strategy, तो दूर की बात है. My personal take, there is a strategy in play, and that strategy, this double tariff on India, is also part of the strategy to put pressure on Russia and make it buckle under pressure and come for the top. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah. So basically there is also some method in madness is the strategy of Trump, and the others follow a more structured, well defined, well discussed strategy. Let's leave it at that. Next question. This is for Sudhakar. Sir, at the root of this lie two motivations for Trump: weaning Russia away from China, much is possible, and Nobel Prize. I can understand logic in the former, but logic in the later seems missing. Yeah, so you comments on this.
Great point. We have missed out. I think the second party Nobel Peace Prize, which
Nobody
is
talked
likely to
about
be recommended by Russia. Yes, you have made a point. Also, let me bring out one issue, sir, between China
But no,
and
no, no,
Russia.
no. He's raising a greater issue, saying logic of why is he cherishing Nobel Peace Prize. See, he's understood that he wants to wean away Russia from China. That's okay. That's understood because if Russia goes to China, it becomes a greater uh, hurdle for the rest of the world to deal with China. But
Yes,
what is his logic about going for Nobel Peace Prize? You know, is it a personal ambition? Is it something to do with because the past president like Obama have got it, so I must also get it? It is because he has stopped Afghanistan war. He has stopped. Now he claims he has stopped the Thailand Cambodia war also. He has brought in peace between Azerbaijan and Armenia. They have signed a peace deal, etc. So what is the logic behind the Nobel Peace Prize? That is what he was asking.
logic behind the Nobel Peace Prize is that it is his personal ambition. The Democrats, the previous president happened to have, previous, I would say, got a Nobel Peace Prize without even realizing the Nobel Peace Prize came on his way. And Donald Trump feels that he's been struggling, working hard, so competent, brought peace to so many countries. Why is he not being considered? It is the personal agenda. But let me share very quickly, the dependency between China and Russia has dramatically reduced. The last thing in past 4 years, the one of the main aerospace engine that is to be China is to be dependent on Russia, that China has started producing indigenously. This is a very important point. Since time doesn't permit to dilate, maybe subsequently we'll cover, because around this particular issue lies the future relationship between Russia and China.
Yeah, next question. Although I mean we are not, so this we are not discussing today, but if you want to answer, Asad sir, did Operation Sindoor created enough deterrence for Pakistan to do another Pahalgam in future? Quick comment here. I mean, you can
I
make a
think
comment on
enough
this.
has been written on this. The new normal has been laid down, and right from top to the bottom, everyone is very well aware. The type of retribution any country which creates such a nuisance for India will be heavy and very punishing, and they should understand that.
Okay, my value addition to what Mehra has said is Pakistan is not Pakistan alone. Anything done by Pakistan is there is a joint effort. China, Azerbaijan, Turkey, and don't be surprised. Let me share with you. Bangladesh front has been opened up. Most of us may get surprised to learn that Qatar and Turkey they are playing very hell. There is a four brotherhood alliance which has come up. All four of them are driven by ISI or Qatar. Qatar is funding. It is funding to develop and promote a madrasa education system in Bangladesh, and also fan out the radical Islam. And the Rohingyas are the mainstay of these four brotherhood alliances. It's a big thing coming.
Okay.
Second Pahalgam may not
Okay.
be like Pahalgam. It could be something else. It may take place not at the refinery at Jamnagar. It could be anywhere along the eastern flank or in the hinterland.
Yeah, I mean, there are some talks about the next time round. I believe he hinted inside the Trump land when he was giving the speech the next time that it might come through the east. So, he was indirectly telling something of that nature. India has to be prepared. It has no other options as far as Pakistan, China is
If DG
concerned.
permits, sir, may I
See,
go, sir?
deterrence.
May I
Yeah,
leave, sir?
okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, okay.
Thank you, Deepak.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Okay. Okay, we have the last question in any case. So after this, we will not be asking. Let me see. Yeah, yeah. This us how do Taco and company rationally explain secondary sanctions on India for Russian oil, but not on China, despite it consuming 500,000 more barrels daily? JD was also obfuscating when asked this question.
So there is
You want to answer this?
very clear thing that China has got some aces up its sleeve. The moment it starts pressing those pressing secondary sanctions on China, additional sanctions on China, China stops the magnets, China stops the rare earth minerals, and stop buying into the US dollars. So there is a big thing going on there. And also, I think one thing Trump would be clear will be that let's tackle one issue at a time. And in that, probably it has taken Russia and India as of now. China's number aayega. It is not going to be left.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in addition to what Jan Mehra said, see, there are two things when you do such things. India has been selected as a example.
Exactly.
So that's the messaging part. Why India has been selected as an example? Why Trump? He's not a fool as people think of. The trade between India and US, the total US trade, if you look at it, India's share is just 3.6%. 3.36%. Russia's share is about 16.8%. And in those 16.8%, there are huge daily use items. There are huge critical technology items, which Jal Mehra just mentioned. These two factors been making very, very unpopular in the US. Therefore, he wants to give a lesson to the other smaller countries and those who are trying to, jump around by making India as an example. Okay, so what if they don't do trade with India? 3.36% is hardly anything, right? So that is the major reason, and that is the logic. Next question, quickly, yeah. This one is what were making great progress? We were making great progress under missile man Dr. Abdul Kalam and in the nuclear under Vikram Sarabhai, but in the last 10 years we didn't see much new technology research focus. I think this is Rasane is little. No, he's not read.
Brush up.
Yeah, he needs to freshen up the kind of work which has gone in the last 10 years. And Prime Minister made the statement today that had it not been for the foresight which we have displayed in the last 10, 12 years, we wouldn't have been able to succeed in Option 2. Right? Please go through the entire initiatives which we have been taking. Yes, we are not taking in the desired speed and space, but even that has been given a major push now with the current after Ops Sindoor, and also with the speech which you saw. It is a huge push for the technology is concerned, as far as technology is concerned. So we'll move. You want to add anything to this? I think it's self-explanatory.
To read Akash, Tir, Agni, Prithvi, now
Yeah, yeah.
Chakra. So it's so many things. I think we leave that.
Yeah, whole lot of things are there. So there are many other questions, but we don't have time. We've crossed our one hour thing. One question I thought you can deliberate upon, and that is there is there is issue to stop with stopping Russian oil. Refineries are built prepared over years for Russian variety of oil. Different oil requires different refineries. And this is a comment. Don't worry, we will find alternate markets. Oil is being, and we are not stopping the Russian oil. That has been made very clear. I think it doesn't need any more explanation. I don't want to go into some questions which are little the Tanner House. This is something extreme Christianity plus state support and money is equal to a Nazi organization. Comment. We will not comment more on it because this is something I thought. Let me just see if there is any interesting thing. Otherwise, we'll call it off. Yeah. Russia should do what's good for it and not try to come under pressure. India can help itself. Trump trying to blackmail. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Russia and India are too big countries to fall under somebody's pressure, and especially with this government and India moving up the economic ladder, up the power ladder, up the national will ladder. I think that is what we always at times lack. And today, with
Yeah.
such a strong national will and the type of systems that have been placed, there is no question of India coming under pressure. India does what is in its national interest, and our foreign affairs minister, defense minister, honorable prime minister have time and again spoken about this thing. And as far as Russia is concerned, it is a 1200-year-old society culture, and it has seen, as I said, 26 million dead in one campaign over years. So it is difficult for it to come under pressure by antics of somebody else, be it whosoever it is.
Yeah, yeah. So we come to the end here. I think we will not take the other questions because of absolutely out of time. Thank you, the listeners. Thank you for being with us for an hour or so, and thank you, John Mehra. I would once again request all of you to subscribe in larger numbers. Share these videos. These videos are being brought to you by real experts. Not people who are trying to speak out of the cuff and trying to make statements which are in the zone of rumors. This is based on facts, figures, research, and some amount of personal knowledge which comes to them from their expertise. So do like, subscribe to our channel, and make it more and more productive. Thank you, John Mehra. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir. Grateful. And thank you to all the listeners who have been patiently listening to this. It was wonderful, sir. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.